deep balls, just in general, I feel like that's kind of what I do best, to be honest with you. I think I throw the ball down the field exceptionally. I feel like it's one of my strengths, and I've been doing it since high school, college. So I think it's one thing that I do best, and one thing that I think we're gonna keep doing and get to more.
That's Justin Fields talking about wanting to do more and throw more in the games. The Bears taking on the Vikings tomorrow night on Monday Night Football.
Joining us now is Kevin Powell from WGN Radio, host of the WGN Radio Football Podcast. Okay, Kevin, so last week's loss. Man, I mean, it feels like they're just not able to put these games away because they're losing at fairly close margins most of the time.
They outplayed Detroit for about 56 minutes last week, and it all crumbled and fell apart over the final few minutes. It was tough to watch. Justin Fields, it was interesting to hear him talk about how he likes to throw the deep ball. That's been one of his strengths in his time in Chicago. He does throw a good deep ball. And I thought Justin was great against Detroit. I really do. It was great to see him back on the field his first game in over a month. He looked decisive, running the ball, throwing the ball. They didn't lose because of Justin Fields. And that was with that game against the Lions. After it, it's like, it's not like you could point to one thing like, oh, the quarterback didn't play well, or the offensive line didn't play well, or the defense didn't play well. They had a really good game against one of the best teams in the NFC, and it just fell apart. I think a big part of it was coaching. I understand it comes down to the players playing. But there was some really conservative play calling late in that game for Matt Eberflus and his staff, where I felt like they had some chances to put things away, and they decided not to. So, look, there was a lot of good from that game, where Fields was back and he played well, and the defense looked pretty good too. Again, against one of the best teams in the NFC, a very frustrating ending to that one.
Right.
Kind of takes you back to that game against Denver earlier in the year where they blew that lead. So they're just not a complete team yet. They're not finishing games, but there was some good signs in that game overall.
When you're looking at coaching and you're looking at, was there a moment last week when you're yelling at the TV in those last 4 minutes?
There was
based on everything that I saw on social media, there was a lot of yelling at TVs last week.
Yeah, there was. I believe it was their third to last possession, and Justin Fields had a 29, 30-yard run, something like that, and it got them in field goal range, which was great. They also had a chance to score a touchdown and really put things away. They elected to run the ball 3 times, got a total of 5 or 6 yards. They settled for the field goal. That was a great opportunity. He had some momentum. Justin Fields had that big run, then did the little dance, had the Lions fans fired up too. So, and I think I asked Matt Eberflus this on Wednesday. It's like, okay, there's been so much talk and pressure on Justin Fields. Like, how does he close this season out? Because it is big picture stuff. Is Justin Fields the guy? I asked Matt Eberflus on Wednesday, do you feel pressure as the head coach? Are you the guy to lead this team? That should be a fair point, right?
Yeah.
Like, what? I think there are more reasons to move on from Matt Eberflus than to keep him at this point. And I'm never the guy hollering to get people fired and all of that, but it's the NFL, and that was his answer. It's like there's always pressure when you're a head coach in the NFL. They have 6 wins under Matt Eberflus. They've never won a division game under Matt Eberflus. There's been some off-the-field drama under Matt Eberflus with a couple of coaches and other things. And they haven't played all that well. So it's like, okay, well, what is the long-term picture here that Kevin Warren and the ownership of the Bears have? Is Matt Eberflus the guy to lead the Bears? Is Ryan Poles, the general manager, the guy to lead the Bears? Because they could be in some interesting position here where and look, we've talked quite a bit this year. I am high on Justin Fields. Am I completely sold that he is the guy and your franchise quarterback? Not yet. Like there hasn't been enough winning and things like that. But he's got all the tools, I think. They're going to be in a position where they might have the top overall pick, which Ryan Poles would then have the possibility of drafting a quarterback like we talked about last week in Caleb Williams or whoever it might be. So they're in a position where it's like, okay, do they stay with Justin Fields and build around him? Has he shown enough to say to the front office and ownership that he's the quarterback? Or does Ryan Poles decide to draft a quarterback.
Or clean house completely.
Exactly. Right.
So, Kevin, what do you think they need to do tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow night against the Vikings, this was the game that knocked Justin Fields out for a month when the thumb injury, and they were all over him that game. The first play of the game offensively for the Bears, Justin Fields was sacked. He was sacked 4 times in that game. Danielle Hunter is a guy to keep an eye on. He's a defensive end for the Vikings who has 12 sacks on the year. So protecting Justin Fields will be key. And Josh Dobbs, which is a great story. I mean, this guy's bounced around the NFL, and once Kirk Cousins, the quarterback of the Vikings, went down for the season with an Achilles, they made a move for Josh Dobbs. They're 2-1 under with Dobbs. They are coming off a loss to Denver, a 1-point loss. But they are in the playoff picture right now. They have the 6th spot in the NFC. Yeah. This game means a lot for the Vikings. And to bring us back to what we were just talking about, I think it does mean a lot to the Bears, too, the rest of the way. I mean, Justin Fields, how does he play down the stretch? And what do they look like under Matt Eberflus? How do they bounce back to that tough loss against the Lions? But I do think they'll be competitive in this one. Minnesota favored by 3 points. So I think it'll be a pretty good game. I think both teams have a lot to play for.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And you can always listen to Kevin on WGN Radio weekdays from 1 until 7. We'll be right back.